We will defend.
And there goes the war, of course. What a
We have detected
surprise, shall we say? Oh boy, here we go.
We will defend to the last.
What the fuck do you want? Oh,
have
fuck
detected
off,
hostiles.
Commonwealth of Man, you goddamn idiots.
We have detected hostiles.
Oh, god damn it, how many more idiots are... Oh, shit. Oh, this is bad. Stellaris, like other strategy games, tends to be quite a beast to get into and learn overall. So, to make it a bit easier, I figured I could do something a bit different. And while I do have a condensed beginner's guide, consider this a more play-along version of a guide. And to help making these videos possible, I got a sponsor today, and as it happens, it's none other than Opera GX. Yes, the self-proclaimed gaming browser made by very own Opera. This Chromium-based browser offers very sleek neon-inspired design with some interesting options and features. Starting with the basic import tools to help you move your settings and more importantly bookmarks and other lists straight into it. And also being a Chromium browser, you can port over all the Chrome extensions you want, making the transition very simple. But what makes Opera GX for gaming is the performance control panel and network limiters. We all joke that browsers take up a lot of RAM, and here's a feature that could help you manage the memory consumption as well as making sure that network is not bogged down by something that you perhaps forgot to close. Additionally, this browser is available for mobile as well, and the best thing, it is for free, so you can try it out no hassle if it seems like a thing for you. And of course, use the link down below. Alright then, well let's then start. As I said, let's start with a new, fresh, pre-made empire. Right, so I'm gonna go with the smallest possible galaxy because that'll make for a shorter, simpler game. Alright, so these settings don't care. The only thing that you probably will care about is the difficulty. This time, I'm gonna go with Commodore, which seems to be a decent difficulty that will give a challenge. Alright, so we start the game, and we are, well, greeted with a lot of information right now. So I'll go over the little details that you need to keep an eye out before we start and press that space button to start the game. Basically, this is your system, right? It resides somewhere in the galaxy. You look around, but before we go into, let's go over the resources first. So on the top left corner, you have the energy credits. These things essentially you can think of as just a simple currency, money, shall we say, even though it has energy on it. Well, basically it is just general money. You're gonna use that money in the market, for example. If you click on any of the resources, it will open relevant screens. For the main resources, it's gonna be the market. For influence, it's gonna be claims and a few other things. For unity, it's gonna be the tradition tree and so on and so forth. Click on them or mouse over and you'll see what the upkeep of this particular resource is, or where it's being spent every tick of the game, and where you're getting it from generally. So this can actually help you out identify the biggest places where to cut corners, shall we say. Whether that is the military might, because yes, military or any ship on the field does consume a bit of resource. Right, so energy credits you can use to buy literally everything. It's the general currency, I would say, in my opinion, but you know, hey, there's the example, for example. So energy credits, it's an energy backed currency accepted by all space trading races. You can gain more energy credits. Hold on. By building generator districts, using construction ships to build mining stations, and selling resources on the market. So yeah, it has a decent little explanation as to what it does. For minerals, you're gonna use that to basically build out stations. For example, you can see right there on the system that my empire starts from. You will need the minerals to actually build those research stations, as well as mining stations, as well as on the planets. To build more buildings, you're gonna need, there you go, those minerals. So that's basically the building block, if you will. As for the food, well, self-explanatory. As long as there is enough of it, you don't need to increase it. It's very cheap oftentimes, selling it to other races. No one ever needs food as long as it is there. Just make sure that there's at least +1 or 0 in this income section of it. So that's all you need to care about. Consumer goods. Right, so consumer goods is an advanced resource that represent the various gadgets, luxuries, and goods necessary, blah, 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 blah. So basically, if there is enough consumer goods, the pops, the populations, the people of your empire are happy. If there is not enough of it, well, then there's a problem. Essentially, that'll increase the energy credits and food, I think it was. But generally, again, the same sort of a resource, which you just need to make sure that is above 0. Then we have alloys. Alloys are used to build military ships, to build the next star base out there, and, well, yeah, generally speaking, it's going to be about building military ships. And then we come to influence. Well, influence is essentially a resource that allows you to build out stations, because building out station will, or rather the next portion of the star map, and you know, building out the territory will require both influence and those alloys. Influence is also used for claiming systems. We'll get to that in the war, but it's eventually for war as well. And Unity. Unity is essentially the resource which you'll be using after the recent patch, actually, for hiring scientists to pilot your science ships and leaders for leader positions. So it's kind of an interesting change that they've done for Unity, but overall it's a nice one. It sort of makes you think what exactly you need to do first. Do you need that one scientist, or do you actually need that perk from traditions? And we'll get into traditions when I get a prompt for them. Moving then on to the technologies. Okay, so this is a big one. So, as you start the game, you got the choice to start researching technologies, and there's a lot of them. Learning what each technology does and which one's the best is really hard, but because the way the game is structured, every time is going to be different. It's random, essentially. Of course, certain technologies can unlock the further technologies, and for example, the blue lasers can unlock the next laser in the line, and so on and so forth. But bottom line is, as you're playing, just pick whatever you think is gonna help you the most at first. In this case, I got only 3 choices, so yeah. Considering that at the start of the game, you don't have any... Well, you don't know where everyone else is around you, so no one's gonna attack you. No one's literally gonna attack you until you reach them, and even then. So, it's kind of pointless to go after military upgrades. Instead, what I would recommend forcing at the start is either research or material. Basically, build out your economy. It's your choice which one to do, but since I don't have any resource-based options here, research it is. Next thing is for society. There are 3 branches and so on and so forth. So here we got some interesting choices. It unlocks a few more additional things, but generally speaking, you got the unity increase, which will increase the tradition acquisition time, which is a really good thing because those perks tend to be quite nice. Then we have the basic research, which is also pretty good, and off-world trading. Let's say I don't know what the trading thing is. I'm just gonna go with, let's see, these 2 options. Well, long-time players will say definitely Unity. Research is also good. They both research in about the same time, but I'm gonna go with the shiny thing. So, and for engineering, this is where, oh, and we got really lucky here. Right. Somebody's gonna attack you. Eventually, somebody's gonna attack you. They always do. And the best way to repel any attacker is to get this upgrade. I got really lucky at the start. Always, always, always prioritize getting the strike crafts. Doesn't matter what you get, it's just immediately get strike craft as soon as possible. This will make sure, and I'll show you later, how useful it is. So yeah, as soon as you can research this thing, go for it and never miss it. However, if let's say there wasn't a striker, there was something else. Corvette building speed. That's a military ship. Did I say that at the very start of the game we're gonna go for military? Of course not. No one's gonna attack you. No one's gonna even impact you too much. So yeah, what's the point of military at the very beginning? So you need to build out either your research or your economy. And lo and behold, we have research. So that's what I'm gonna pick. Let's say you make a mistake. Let's say you make a mistake and you selected the wrong option. Of course, underneath the researcher, you see the progress of the current technology. You can switch to a different technology from those three. And I just did that. That's a whoopsie. Change research. There's a button for that. Big strike craft. So, we have selected everything. We can start the game. Technically, yes. But there are some tips and tricks we can actually do before we start the game. Ordering the ships to do something, so that's the first thing I'm gonna do. So, with the science ship, you're gonna be selecting you're gonna be exploring, essentially, the surrounding areas and surveying systems. Before you can actually claim a system or build out a station that claims a system as part of your empire, you need to survey it. So what you do is click on the system, right click on it, and press survey. Of course you can move there, and science ships are able to do that and explore far and wide. That actually does help you discover other opponents, if you will, or species, or well, whatever empires are out there. To discover the system, or rather what is in it, you need to survey it, and then later on with a construction ship, you're gonna be building on it. But because there's nothing to build outside of your own system, there are some buildings you can still make. So, whatever you can, just start building, so that, or rather order it to build something. On the side, on the right side of the screen, you can see all your stats of your all your resources and planets, in this case shipyards, military ships, as well as the civilian ships, the science and construction. This is where you're gonna most likely see what each ship is doing. For example, right now the construction ship is ordered to do building somewhere, the science ship is also ordered to go somewhere and do something. If you see some ship doing nothing, well, perhaps it's a good idea to make it do something. Now, you've ordered your science ship to do something. Now, of course, one action is a nice thing. However, with strategy games, obviously, queuing up orders so that you don't have to do every single one at a time is a good idea, and Stellaris allows that. So, what you do is click on, or rather, hold down Shift button to order the next system to be surveyed, and it will survey it as the next thing once it's done with the previous task, essentially the order list. There is actually a fun trick here to speed up sort of clicking. Rather than needing to hold the shift and right click on a system, you can in fact click this survey button, and you can just simply hold shift and left click. You don't need to open that menu, and just select whatever planets are out there. There we go, we got a survey a system. Click on the survey button, and then just left click, that is, and ta-da. It's quicker, simpler, and easier. It's a trick that I was shown, and honestly, it's a really nice little trick there. Before we continue on, there's still one last thing that I'd like to do, and that is ship designer. You open up the ship design. This is a bit more advanced, but regardless, you click the auto-generated designs, because oftentimes they're kind of crap, really. So, let's see, you open up ship designer, you click on in this case, particularly Corvette, since with every new game, every empire is given 3 military ships. Now, as I said before, at the very start of the game, no one's gonna attack you, no one's gonna even try to invade you or anything like that. You don't need any military. No one's around you to do that, right? So, it's interesting that if you downsize or completely strip these military ships, specifically the hyperdrive, you put it at nothing, it won't be able to jump anywhere, but there are 3 military ships, and those are corvettes, barely equipped with anything. They're just basically like old Ladas, so kind of pointless, right? So you strip them of everything possible, and you save the design. And once you head to the military ships, you can see the little button there for upgrades. You press the upgrade and they lose, or rather they will give back alloys. Certain amount of alloys. In this case it was 145 alloys, which is actually quite more than what you already start with. This will allow you to actually expand. Yes, you use the alloys to expand to neighboring systems. So now that everything is set up, we can move forward. What I like to do usually is to max out the speed on the top, well, it's kind of hard to see there, but regardless, the plus sign for the max speed of the game, and off we go.
Ship upgrades applied.
What I like to do is, well, what everyone else likes to do in strategy games, and that's to build more ships than just one. Find the choke point between you and your opponent. It wouldn't make much sense to explore a system like this one, where, well, you can clearly see there's no connection other than to this particular system in choke point, right? So discovering choke points and trying to find your opponent as fast as possible to reinforce the said choke points is a very important thing. Also, because you prevent enemy from going to certain systems, well, you can claim them as your own. Again, going for choke points, choke. So off you go. Of course, building another science ship will be important. So first things first, I'm gonna order this ship to go for the choke points. I'm gonna order a few more science ships. The first contact protocols, right? So there's the lore nonsense, blah 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 blah. Right, so we shall greet the Xenos with open arms, which implies, let's see, policy of first contract is set to proactive, and there are bonuses that you get from it. The next one is it's wise to be cautious, right? So first contact target difficulty, and the last one is grayed out because you are not able to do it. Because of your Empire's specific type, you cannot select it. Whatever pop-ups tend to pop up, as this one as well, you can choose which to pick. Either you choose, let's say, a resource, in this case influence, straight up, or initiate an event. Speaking of those events, you open up the situation log. F2 by default, or the side note, you can see the hotkeys, which is a wonderful little addition. So yeah, there are all the events. They will come and go. It will show up all sorts of timed and non-timed events. Consider them as quests, basically. Okay, so we can select our first tradition. Now, there's a sort of a guide to which one's the best here and there. I'm even made my own.
Anomalous readings registered.
We'll get to that. Oh, these pop-ups. Okay, first things first, we're gonna go through the traditions. You see the traditions as sort of a perk system with all sorts of little perks that allow you to, or rather improve the statistics of your system, of your empire, which are really, really useful. So I would recommend truly going over all of them and seeing which one you like the most, or which one fits you at the moment the most. Of course, when there's a chance to pick up another tradition, or rather perk, you can choose either the perk or a different tradition tree. Although if you finish a tradition, you get an ascension perk, so it is recommended to go for the full tradition perk picking, I guess. When it comes to starting the game, I've talked about which ones are the best. Discovery is probably the primary one that people go for. Prosperity is really useful, but for late game. Expansion is another one. So often either you're gonna pick the expansion or discovery. Discovery will have automated research speed. It adds the extra research speed, which is really nice. And there's the perk to boldly go, which is definitely a useful thing to pick up first, because it allows you to survey systems a lot faster. So that's the reason why it often is the first to pick. And there are additional things that make the whole tree really nice. However, for example, on expansion, you get the colony development and, of course, the influence cost. Oftentimes, either you're gonna struggle with discovering systems to build on them, or you're gonna struggle building them out, even though you have discovered them. So yeah, you pick or you adapt this tradition. So that doesn't mean you can pick any of the perks. And the perks you're gonna pick, just like in the timer on the top right there, in a little while once you collect enough of Unity. And that's where the Unity comes in. Okay, so your science ship discovered anomaly. What you do is either let it be researched or you postpone it, or basically let it lie until some later time. They do take time to research, but that time that is spent researching with that science ship, you could spend going and surveying a system. They do not disappear, so let them lie until a certain point that you can't go further, and then you can research them. It is highly recommended to ignore them and not research them until you've hit the borders of another empire. My science ships have been built, and I need scientists in order to start surveying systems. So, in order to get that, I need to spend Unity. Now, either I can wait until I get the perk for surveying, or I get a scientist. Well, doubling the survey speed by just getting another scientist to do the job is, percentile-wise, a better, smarter choice at first. However, once you reach a, relatively speaking, a critical mass of science ships, survey speed, or, well, getting traditions instead of leaders in this case, as the scientists are, is a better option. There we go. Discovered the chokes, daddy. Oh boy. And look at that. The survey of a system is done. So I can now build there as well. I'm gonna queue it up for the next thing. And as you can see, it costs influence to build an outpost and claim the system for your empire. And then you can build out the system itself for the resources. Another tradition, survey speed improve, and there we go. Look at that. A system with a habitable planet is discovered and claimed. Now I can actually colonize a planet. And to do so, you click on globe thing looking icon, and then click colonize. Pure and simple. Another important thing that I forgot to do was on every starting planet, for most planets I'd say, you need to look through features. Here you can see some tile blockers. Some of them give extra bonuses once you clear them, not only allowing you to build extra buildings, but also they give some bonuses. For example, this tile, once you clear it, on clearing, unblocks specific nonsense max agricultural districts. That allows you to just build things. However, here we go. The top one allows, or rather, on clearing, generates additional pop. That is additional population, people basically, workers that would generate you resources according to whatever you have set up for the planet. And that is the very important thing that you must remember to do, unlike yours truly. Now we need to deal with planets. As you can see, here we have one unemployed pop. And that basically means that you have one population that does not have a job. It's there on the planet, but it has nothing to do. It is a good idea to have open jobs, one or two open jobs, rather than idle people doing nothing. What I like to do is to build out districts first, rather than buildings, but it's really up to you. Yeah, let's go with research. Why not? Since my economy seems to be doing okay, I might as well push research, because with research, you're gonna get some really good stuff first, and that will improve overall efficiency of your empire. Okay, right now I might have made a mistake. I selected a research... Shut up. I made a order to build a research lab, despite the fact that my consumer goods are falling. Yep, so basically for that I will need to look into my buildings, and look at that, there's civilian industries. So there we go, that's what I will need to balance out my economy. Basically the way you play Stellaris when it comes to dealing with economy is to play reactively. You can try and be proactive, that is, trying to predict where and what you will need, but that's a lot of hassle and you'll get the hang of it eventually. Now, rather than that, when you see some sort of deficiency on your main screen, not on the planet deficit, that doesn't impact anything, on the main screen on the top, then you need to react and build whatever is required for it. Okay, we got some more research to do. Okay, so we got either the resources for food or more food, basically. Well, in this case, I got enough food, and naval capacity is not a good idea. It sucks. No, I'm gonna go with food for starbase constructions. No, I'm gonna go with that. And for my physics, well, I don't need ship reactors. Colony development speed at this rate would actually be useful. Or research. Well, since I already have a decent colony being developed, I might as well pick this option. But yeah, about the edicts that I just pressed. Right, essentially these are little things that I'll improve for a little time being how your empire performs or what is being done. Research subsidies increases research, and it costs quite a lot to upkeep, so yeah, the changes have been made for edicts as well. So whether or not you're willing to sustain the cost of them is really up to you, but as you can see up top, you have enough funds for these edicts, and as long as you have that, if you go over the top, well, it will cost extra and not recommended generally. So here we are again with research for engineering. Now I can choose mining outputs for mining stations, I can increase the army damage and get material increase, which is a decent one as well, or straight mining increase. Well, in this case, 10%, 5%, or 20%. I would say 20% on planets, of course, but still, very useful. Right, so you've finally colonized your first planet. It's important to take a look at the buildings, because the first tile is open, and sometimes, depending on which empire you're playing or what type it is, there might be buildings that improve the pop growth, or spawns pops faster, or helps it. So going over these buildings is kind of boring, but well, you need to check whether or not there is a building that, let's say, improves the speed or rate at which these populations increase. Since in this case there are none, I will go with the basic, what do I need from the resources? It looks like I might need some... Alright, this is a science-y type of a planet, so why would I need to go with resources first? Go with... Research lab is not available because planetary administration. Damn. Okay, in that case, I'll go with mining. Okay, looks like there are some problems on my first colonized planet. There's even more unhappiness. You can make decisions and essentially improve or worsen the situation to stabilize things and so on and so forth. Declare martial law, for example, if the stability is low or whatnot else. You can help also increase the immigration, which is a useful thing. In fact, I should do that. There is market, the galactic market, which allows you to purchase some resources to a certain amount. And here we go. I decided to spend a few more energy credits to purchase enough consumer goods so I can start the distribute luxury goods one. Basically, if you screw up the planet too much, declare martial law. There you go. That's the important thing that you must know. Okay, looks like we have found ourselves the first aliens, marked with this icon specifically. You will send an envoy to start discovering it, and if you're the first one to research the other species, you get a little bit of a bonus in, I think it was influence, which is really nice. Untouched. Oh, there's another one even. Holy crap. Okay, you send another envoy. You do have 3 of them. Well, some empires don't have as many, or some have more, but the point is, just as long as they are available, send them. And now that I have finally finished my first tradition, an Ascension perk is unlocked. Ascension perks basically have all sorts of wonderful bonuses. Some are marked off because you don't have the first Ascension perk, or you haven't accomplished a certain research or whatnot else. So, just pick from what you have already. In this case, we have the Interstellar Domination, Starbase Influence cost and claims, pretty decent, but not decent enough. Then we got technological ascendancy, really decent for research. One vision, monthly unity, also pretty decent, surprisingly. So basically, my thing is to go for technology. So here we go. There you go. That's your first big perk. Of course, you'll be able to pick those previous perks after you finish one of the traditions again. So it's not like it's lost or anything like that. Ah, the automatic surveying. That's such a nice thing, especially on bigger maps. This is, in my opinion, one of the better perks to pick immediately. There are even mods that automatically give you this ability. Basically, instead of now, once I research it, instead of manually telling your ship to go and research or rather survey system, here you press a button and immediately it just picks whatever is available and automatically goes and surveys a system. Of course, you can still order what to do or what to research first, but generally speaking, they will just go in a direction. So. Okay, we have found ourselves our first aliens, the Commonwealth of Man. I'm not gonna spoil what they are, so let's just say we are happy to welcome them and, you know, not be aggressive. This will improve or well, change their attitude towards us. You can see the plus 30 or minus 30 or neutral. And yeah, I'm gonna go with positive relations. Let's start being nice first. The attitude of aliens is against or for you. You can open up the F1 screen. There we go, contacts. And you can see who is either hostile or in a positive relations with you. You can contact them, you can send espionage. In fact, I will do that, so to discover basically what stats they have. And diplomacy wise, you can either improve relations, you know, you send an envoy. Let's do that for the time being, since they're the only neighbors we have discovered thus far. You can make claims for their empire once you discover where they are and, you know, what's the area. For war, declare war, offer a trade deal, and here is actually an interesting thing. You can go to the galactic market, or you can actually try and trade with your neighbors. That does improve the relationships if you just give them stuff without any taking, if you will. That's kind of nice, but I'm not one for diplomacy, really. I just let them attack me and then punish them for that. So let's say I want to send them my resources. Obviously, they will accept it. This is the not percentage, but how much, how willing to accept their deal or this particular deal are they. Let's say I want them to send me some food. Let's say I want 100 points of or 100 units of food. Clearly they won't accept it. As long as the number is above 1, AI will accept it. Players are different, but there you go. Let's say I want food. And you can see 100 credits for 100 food. They're more willing to accept it. Even more willing to accept it. And let's just increase it a little. There we go. And 240. You can almost point by point see how willing to accept the deal they are. So yeah, that's how you trade, and it's pretty decent for getting a little bit of resources or helping out or improving relationships or whatnot. So I was talking about those buildings that improve pop growth speed, the population growth speed, and Gene Clinics is a similar one. So approximate job production is plus 10 on pop growth and a few other little things. So this is the kind of a building that can be only one on a planet, but it will improve the amount or speed at which the population grows. And that is definitely recommended.
Is hailing us.
No crap. Okay, here it goes. Okay, so clearly I have discovered some aliens around me. And this looks like this system is gonna be the choke point here. Well, hopefully at least. So, what I've actually now come to think of it, the problem is, if let's say an enemy comes in, well, really it can come in from here, through here, and then here. Problem is, even if I build a station, defensive station here, they teleport in here, and straight goes in there. They won't go to the middle of the system. So that's kind of annoying. So that's not a choke point, unfortunately. This system is. And I hate that you can't position these defensive stations yourself, but here we'll... right, so this is gonna be my choke point. And of course, because this is a Stellaris, you can rename systems to make them easier to remember. Yep. Choke Me Daddy is gonna be the biggest choke point out there for now. Stellaris is wonderful. And this is where the research leads me. A shit choice, an even bigger shit choice, and a questionable shit choice, and a bigger shit choice. Yay, shit choices! I guess I'm gonna take the least of which. Oh god. That's RNGesus, ladies and gentlemen. That's research. I hate it sometimes, but there you go. Okay, now that we have our Choke Me Daddy's defensive station in the choke point built. Oh crap, actually, now that I think of it, they can... yeah. I still need to build another choke point. God damn it. Okay, here we go, and we'll call this Choke Me Harder. Okay, yeah, alright, you're gonna have fun with that. Okay, so, let's say I have built a starport as well there, or defensive station. The reason why the hangar bay is so important is because it's so good. Literally the best defensive tool you can have. So always buy it and always equip it. And of course I'll put it on the stations and so on and so forth. As for the buildings on these star bases, whatever you want to call them, I would say Disruption Field is the better one. Next would be Target Uplink, but even though questionably so. Disruption Field, here we go. Because that reduces the shield hit points tremendously. Okay, somebody wants me to become a vassal of them. How about no? That's a no. Guarantee independence. Sure. But yeah, when an AI tries to ask you to be their vassal, they will most likely attack. After that, because that opens a justified war, sort of, towards you. Though, this empire... hold on. Yeah, they seem to be very positive for us, so won't attack. At least for now. The fuck are they? It's just like a butterfly tentacle monster fish face. Stellaris, what the hell? Okay, my Choke Me Harder is ready. Oh yes, choke me harder with those wonderful weapons. Okay, we have discovered another alien nation. So, there we go. I already have taken a choke point, although I would love to take this choke point first. Oh crap, okay, this is bad. Unfortunately, the Empire already took the... Okay, so now in that case I will go back and fortify. So this is going to be definitely another choke point. Great. Let's rename it to... There we go. Let's be definitely grown up about that. Yep.
Log has been updated.
Okay, Galactic Community. Now this is going to be a very important thing. Essentially, you together come and put policies out there and do political things. So the Galactic Community is born. So yeah. Okay, here we go. Senate floor. Right, so sentient organics can no longer be sold on the slave market. Sure, why not? Yeah, I don't care particularly. Diplomatic weight from fleet power. Yeah, sure, I suppose I support it. So yeah, that's basically how you eventually get into it, and of course you can propose resolutions and blah 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 blah. Right, here's another very important pop growth tip. Pick robots. Robot assembly is very important. That will improve the amount of population that grows and works. Problem with robots is that they don't work in sophisticated jobs. You see the population, you have the rulers, you get the specialists, and you got the workers. Robots, at least those that you assemble, cannot go for more than just worker roles. Just like with species, eventually you're going to be able to alter them and add good and bad traits, mostly good obviously, or remove bad traits. With robots it's sooner, easier sort of to do. Like for example now, I gained a specific research, or finally researched a specific thing, and I can alter the robots to do slightly different things. Either increase their energy production or whatever other little details about them. For this one I will go not assembly cost but speed and upkeep. There we go. A simple one. You create the template. There we go. And then you can apply it to all the worlds that it is in. It will cost a certain amount of research to do, but
Situation log has been updated.
there you go, and it will be applying to all of it. And here we go, another choke point. How should we name another choke point? There we go. Very good, very grown up we are. Oh, and here's an interesting thing you can do with leftover science ships, or, well, at least ships when you're not using them for science, to go and help assist research on a planet. It's not going to be a lot, of course, but it's still a little bit of a boost when there's nothing to do with these science ships. So just keep an eye out on the scientists not dying, and they will provide, 10% or so additional research. The planet that is in question.
Completed.
Okay, so we have a problem here. There's a scientist which cannot get home. That's kind of a problem now, is it? Because the borders are closed and this asshole doesn't want me to go through. Okay, actually there are two scientists. So what do? Well, first things first is dismount the scientist from the damn thing by right-clicking on the icon, and then let the ship return. This will put it as missing in action, but it will return to Sol or whatever is your home, capital system. And yes, it disappears. You dismiss it, then return, and it disappears. It will reappear soon enough. Okay, here we go, and we have quite an interesting situation with food. It's at maximum capacity. Yes, I could just build some storage units that is in stations, like here we go. No, not here. We got resource silos. I could do that, but it's just 2,000, and honestly, it's easy to just sell. Just sell. Just sell. Oh, I'm full. Okay. I will need alloys eventually, and a lot of them. So I'm just gonna buy as much alloys as I can for that money. So here we go. Now, at this point in time, since I have already built a couple of choke points, well, I got kinda lucky because Commonwealth of Man is not near my borders at all. So, no one is attacking, except maybe for these idiots. Question mark. But regardless, point is, usually it would be the Commonwealth of Man that would attack first or attempt to war with me, but since they are blocked off, I am left to my own devices. Even in the wartime, the plan would be to wait until the enemy literally exhausts themselves, hitting every ship they have on my choke points, because it is 1.6 in power. In this early stage, the power of average fleet is going to be maybe 1,000 at most. So you're going to be just sitting there, waiting until the enemy comes in, destroys itself against your choke point, very wonderful brick wall, leaving you with a lot of research from those ships. You get research. Once they are exhausted, you would pick whatever fleet you have, or just wait them out and either conquer their lands, claiming a couple of their systems, or just sit pretty and wait until they get humiliated completely and ask for forgiveness, or well, rather stopping of the war which they initiated. Okay, so here's an interesting situation that our Commonwealth of Man is in. They are currently at war with my friendly neighbor. Now, I could do a dick move, and I'm gonna do that and start a war. However, I'm not gonna do anything. I'm gonna wait until he's exhausted. So, let's say I'm gonna declare some claims. Yes. I don't have a lot of influence left, so I'm just gonna claim that one system. And now, declare war. Conquer. And because he's fighting the other guy, he's not gonna really do much. And the best he can do is try with his meager, pathetic little battleships, try and go through my choke me harder or choke me daddy stations. Good luck with that! Especially considering that their power is 4.6. I don't have any military ships, so if he can get through, I'm gonna get fucked, but
Construction
I highly doubt he's gonna get through. Now, damn it, it got around. Ah, I hate this. I hate this. Why? Okay, so again, yeah, basically what I said would not happen happened. The enemy spawned in there and avoided the big station that would have annihilated it. God damn it! Now we need to militarize quickly. Back to ship designer. Oh boy, this is gonna be bad. So I just auto-complete the work. I don't have anything good. So yeah, I've researched all sorts of things, but not military stuff. And now it's time to hardcore militarize myself. Because, boy oh boy, that one ship with very little power is gonna destroy everything. So, as you saw, I did the ship designing, basically auto-completed it because there's nothing better to do. But generally, you would try to balance out the weapon damage and so on and so forth. I made a video specifically about what is the best sort of way to put fleets together, if you will, or what are the best ships to fight stuff for, and corvettes work just fine, even in late game. So, what next is fleet management. Yes, you could just click on a shipyard somewhere and start building corvettes or military ships. Yes, you could do that, but there is a better way to manage all of it, because you constantly need to move them with the existing fleets that you have. So, for example, here we got already existing fleets, and you can increase their numbers like this. And that's automatically, when you press reinforce fleet, the ships that are being made automatically will go to those fleets and join them immediately. You don't need to click anything and anything like that, which is a great thing. Unless of course the fleet, is already engaging something, they will join and well, stay with it. It's a finicky system, but this is easiest to do. So you press reinforce. It will reinforce with the design that you have created. Weirdly, not all. Oh no, it's building. Why is it doing that? It's just building ship after ship after ship after. It's not joining any of the fleets already existing. Oh crap! I'm at full exhaustion, so at any point,
construction completed.
He may stop the war or whatnot else. But yeah, if that happens, I lose those 2 stations. That is pretty bad. Also, speaking of military ships, it would be recommended you put in some admiral. Some of them have actually pretty decent, yeah, there we go. For example, fire rate. That's really useful. That increases the power of the fleet quite tremendously. Now, when an opponent is finally destroying itself against your brick wall, they are leaving behind some scraps. And this is where your research can come from. So go there with your science ship and research it. Of course, leave the fleet stand as passive so that it doesn't quite run away. Of course, it can get destroyed, but if your brick shithouse is essentially a massive pillar of power, yeah, I highly doubt it's gonna happen. But hey, losing a scientist is nothing big. Okay, so are you telling me this one fucking piece of shit ship is gonna destroy my 4.9 thousand power station?
Knowledge is the key to the
Just
universe.
no. When it comes to these stations first, I did say about these hangar bases to be very important, and this is where you see the power come out. He's trying to attack it with all sorts of things. Yes, it got past, but let's ignore that for a second. Well, regardless, he's basically destroying himself against my brick shit house, and I can go in and collect everything. Look at that, he's nearly exhausted as well. I don't want to lose these two systems, so I need to go and retake them. So that's what I'm gonna do exactly now, before the war ends complete. God damn it, no! And speaking of that, literally unpaused and lost the starport. Not starport, but system. At least I didn't lose my ship starport, shipyard starport. But oh, damn it! As you can see, my economy has suffered because I've pumped out a lot of ships right here. So yeah, you got to be careful about where and how you pump out ships, and in fact to increase the amount of your naval capacity is through either research or more likely, there we go, a little bit of anchorage. Okay, somebody declared war with me again. Okay, that was inevitable, it looks like it. Right, so, these idiots declared war on me, which I kinda predicted. Okay, now. Actually, since I am on war, there is more important tradition to pick before I move on, and that is unyielding. Technically, you can do without it, and I probably could, question mark, but just to be on the safe side, I'm gonna need this one perk. Just one perk, not the whole thing. It's unfortunate that it's just one perk, but here we are, basically. And as you can see, his exhaustion is quite high. So at this point, he's gonna start exhausting before I do. And I can always press achieve goals once I have achieved them by attacking him once he is exhausted. That was a sentence.
Interstellar debris.
But yeah, basically, once I hit a brick wall at his end, I can just say, oh, that's it. War is mine. I lost my, or started losing my troops, and that's it. War is ended. Okay, we have a problem here. Yeah, there's a lot more power behind that fleet than my station. So, yeah, he's bringing in some bigger fleets, and that is bad. Need to go and help immediately. This is the one that I needed. Where were you just a little bit sooner? Oh, damn it. Now it's 7.9. Oh, I could have defended. Oh, if only I had a little bit more time. Well, anyways. I'll lose a couple of ships. That's alright.
Detected hostiles.
That's alright. I'll lose a couple of ships. Oh, they want peace now. Oh, look at that. This guy needs peace. Oh, that's just cute. Just hold a second. I need to build my army first, okay? Just I got 56% still left, so just give me a moment. How wonderful. Look at how much wonderful research did I get. Ooh. Oh, look at that. Almost all done. Oh, just wonderful. Thanks for the research there. I'm catching up quickly thanks to the war. Oh, that's just wonderful. I still got 37% to wait until I'm fully exhausted, so that's good. Okay, we are nearly at 90%, and I think I have enough power to just overthrow everything that he has. Okay, looks like he has got a lot of little planets and shit, so here we go. It's time to take some land. Alright, my exhaustion is at full. So war will eventually end inevitably, but until it does, I'm gonna take as much as I can. I'm losing the battle. Oh noes! I'm losing the battle. Losing the battle. And I lost my ships. Okay.
Interstellar debris
Right. I lost
analyzed.
all my ships. I have absolutely nothing to go forward with except for, yeah, well, yeah, that's missing in action. We can settle for status quo, which means that things I've conquered will stay with me, and things he's conquered will stay with him. Except for the fact that he has nothing to do. So, settle for status quo. Ta-da! And I take all the station, oh, except for this one, which is weird. But regardless, the fact is, I just took all of his stuff as my army dissipated. I also didn't take that one. Weird. Ah, they had planets. Ah, I forgot about the fucking planets. Well, regardless, we'll get to that eventually. But for the first, well, technically second war, yeah, this is how you slowly but surely take over your opponents. And look at how much wonderful tech... Look at that, almost fully researched shields. Ah, just... Ah... Wonderful, isn't it? So yeah, this is the power of just a little bit of hangar bays being stacked on top of each other. And now, let's see... even though they are still technically higher than me, I've accelerated to no end. Wow, he's got a lot of technology though. That's weird. But regardless, well, thanks for technology. He brought in quite a lot of wonderful advancements to my empire, and I will take him over next time I possibly can. And now that I have terraforming ability, I can change them to whatever suits my species the best. And there are a couple of tomb worlds which do cost a pretty penny to change, but there are a few that don't. Kind of. Well, it just simply takes quite a lot of time, but extra planets to live on is a wonderful thing.
We will defend.
And there goes the war, of course. What a
we have detected
surprise, shall we say? Oh boy, here we go. Well, I am ready. I got my main force already on the front line, well, near the front line, so I can respond to either of these.
We will defend to the last.
What the fuck do you want? Oh, fuck off,
hostiles.
Commonwealth of Man, you goddamn idiots.
We have detected hostiles.
Oh, god damn it, how many more idiots are... Oh, shit. Oh, this is bad. Like, this is pretty bad. And there is... Oh, the wormholes. Probably should not have explored them, because he can go through there as well. Yeah, the problem starts a lot when you haven't completely annihilated somebody. And, yeah... This is, pretty bad. Oh, this is pretty bad. I mean, I hope no one comes through here, but... Oh god, choke me daddy didn't hold. Oh no. And there goes all of my forces. Yeah, just, yeah, get the fuck out of my area. Oh, good. Okay, he didn't take a lot, but there we go. Okay, so essentially the war report ends as I get basically pummeled by somebody else that I'm fighting, despite the fact that I could have just waited out the big guy and take him over and then win even more. I wish I actually had taken even more, then I wouldn't need to worry about him attacking me again. In the end, the war is a big problem, oftentimes when you are alone, so building political alliances and potentially doing the whole federation thing, it could be really helpful. But for now, generally speaking, build borders, build defenses, make sure that those defenses are up to date. Once you defended against an enemy, you essentially go take his lands and keep taking his lands, unless of course you get pummeled by everyone out of nowhere, it seems. Every game is slightly different, and even after right now, I could recuperate, I could build up defenses so that they would not be able to go through. I'm slowly going through my technologies, building out weapons and defenses even further, improving the overall capability of both my attack force and defense force, and that would eventually lead me to overpowering everyone. And the same old principle basically goes as you defend until they exhaust themselves, and then you just go in and kill. Or, if they don't come in and don't even try to attack, that means basically they have absolutely no power, and you can, well, either which way, wait until somebody's exhausted, hopefully not you, and just go in, take the lands, and then surrender, well, not surrender, but settle for status quo, take the lands, and be done with. And after that, there's the endgame crisis, which is a big thing anyways, but this should get you at least started, and help you accommodate the problems. Make sure that your planets have enough living quarters, always available jobs, like for example right now, just upgrade and you got a job. After that, just make sure that you have buildings that generate populations or pops, and make sure just to adjust for deficit, essentially. You're currently, for example, right now I don't have enough resources to keep growing on the mineral side because my plants were taken. There we go, we got a couple of buildings and precisely somebody that needs a work on that industry, so that should do the trick there. And there we go, already economy is recuperating. So yeah, just make sure that not overbuilding things, and just build whenever you need something, and whenever you have a moment to pause. Damage. It takes a while to get into Stellaris, but overall there are difficulty levels, so if one is a bit too much, well, try different, or perhaps a different type of an empire, I suppose. I personally, again, really love the Total Wars, which are absolutely wonderful, but hey, the Commonwealth of Man, like these idiots, or the United Nations of Galaxy fail that I was playing today, well, you know, they are different. Or build your own, but best of all, eventually the end game crisis or even the mid game crisis is gonna come along, and it's gonna be fun times. But that's a whole end game nonsense that perhaps I'll cover one day. But that's about it. Hopefully you enjoyed a little bit of playthrough and play along, and let me know what I missed or what you need to learn still. What did I skim over? Hopefully nothing much. So hopefully you enjoyed this little Stellaris play along and all that. And if you did, and if this helps you out or answered a couple of questions, well, not only do watch my other videos for Stellaris, especially for the how to build a fleet video, but yeah, and others too. But hey, if you want to support, I greatly appreciate all the wonderful support on Patreon. It's really appreciated there. And YouTube members and all the wonderful folks around allow me to make somewhat experimental videos like these. So yeah, there you go. Take care and try out Stellaris. It is really fun.